Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the From a Certain Point of View podcast. This is Josh, and this is my Han Solo mission. So as you can see, I'm going solo right now, but I won't always be going solo. I'm sure I'll have Adam join me whenever he's able to. He said he's willing to when he has the opportunity, and I'm sure I'll be reaching out to other guests from time to time because I love having conversations with other people about my favorite things, my favorite hobby, which is movies and TV. And the idea behind this is just to have sort of like a weekly roundup type of show. I'm definitely inspired by John Campea, the John Campea show I watch regularly. I think he does a great job with his content creation and covering everything, but he also does reviews from time to time. So if I'm trying to model this after anybody, it would be John Campea. And if you're not familiar with him or you don't follow his podcast or his YouTube page, I suggest you do because he does a great job of doing what I'm trying to do. Just by providing my points of view on news, major stories, but also giving reviews from time to time. And that will be the idea behind this. So the idea behind this is the weekly POV. So that's the idea. And normally, this will be sort of an end of the week type of thing that might drop on, Sundays or Mondays. But I'm recording today on a Tuesday, which, this is the week of Christmas. So I knew this weekend I'd probably be busy and wouldn't get around to doing it. But if you're here with me, I'm so glad you are for my solo venture here with guests to come soon. And let's get right into it. I'm going to start with some of my recommendations, things that I've been watching, and then we'll get into some of the news from this week. And so one of the things that I have kind of revisited with my daughter Sydney and with my wife is Avatar. And the first Avatar. I know there are a lot of haters out there, and I hear you. I understand that maybe it's not the most original story or whatever you take issue with. But from my point of view, I love Avatar. I think it is great cinema. I think it's a visual spectacle. I actually love the story. I don't think there's anything wrong with going back to a classic type of story, maybe like a Dances with Wolves type of story and kind of reinventing it in a new place with new characters. And I think Avatar certainly does that. And, I asked Sydney, I was like, what did you love most about Avatar? Because she said, oh, this is my new favorite movie after we watched it. And she was like, Daddy, I just loved like how he learned to become one of them and everything and learn their ways. And I thought that was a really interesting little perspective and point of view from from a 6-year-old's point of view. And so that's one of the things I really like about it too is, the way Jake Sully's character just becomes one of them. And by the end, he literally becomes one of them. So I'm really excited to see The Way of Water. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited to go see that. And I'm lucky enough, the 4K TV I have does 3D as well. And I had like the 3D Blu-ray of Avatar. So last night, my daughter and I watched the 3D version of it, and it just blew me away. I was reminded of the technology even back then when that came out. With 3D, James Cameron did an excellent job. I'm not usually a big fan of 3D, but this one was really impressive. So if you haven't checked Avatar out yet, I don't know what to say, but give it a watch, or give it a rewatch if you have, and maybe you didn't like it the first time around. And if you have the 3D version, I recommend checking that out. Another thing I want to recommend is A Christmas Story Christmas. So my family and I recently sat down and watched the original Christmas Story, which is one of the classics. I kind of got sick of it after all the years of reruns on TNT and TBS, but I wanted to revisit it this year because of A Christmas Story Christmas coming out on HBO Max. And I have to say it was a nice follow-up. Of course, it doesn't quite compare to the original, but it's so nostalgic. You step back into these places, into the house with Ralphie as an older adult, and now he has kids and he's trying to give them the perfect Christmas. And there were some tear-jerking moments from me in this, and I won't reveal any spoilers or anything like that, but there were definitely some good emotional beats in it, and just the nostalgia of it. I mean, it doesn't, again, the original is just such a classic and such a good film that this one doesn't quite compare, but I really enjoyed it and would recommend it around Christmas time. So, but yeah, well, let me know, what are you guys watching? What are some recommendations you might have for me? I'd be curious to hear them in the comments section. So let me know. But now we are going to head into the news segment of this show. So let's start with the box office. And speaking of Avatar, Avatar: The Way of Water did have a strong debut, and it took in 134 million for its opening weekend, which is above the original 77 million. Of course, the original went on to be, the highest grossing film of all time worldwide, I do believe. And it is the first, but this one is the first of Cameron's movies to clear the 100 million mark in a single weekend. So that's great. I think, even though it made this much, it might have kind of came out below expectations of what it could do, after the first Avatar. But I think there's been and I was concerned about this, that there were so many years in between the first Avatar and this one that people maybe just didn't quite care as much this time around. I don't know. Maybe with positive word of mouth, it can have long legs and, get up above a billion. One thing that was impressive, that it made 435 million worldwide. So, that's pretty promising and pretty strong. Plus, you don't have a ton of competition coming out in the theater in the near future that I'm aware of, and you have the holidays. So a lot of people will probably go out over their holiday break and check this movie out. That's definitely our plan. But The Way of Water outperformed the original Avatar in its opening weekend, but still has a way to go to do what the original Avatar did. But I'm excited. And next up, we had a Disney Plus 2023 teaser preview, which you can check out on the Disney Plus YouTube channel. And we got to look at some of the things that are coming out in 2023. There's a few in particular I'm really excited about. We got to look at the upcoming third season of The Mandalorian, which showed, similar clips to what we saw in the teaser trailer, a couple months back. But I'm so excited for Mando season 3. I'm looking forward to that. And it's still my favorite Star Wars TV show. Andor, I'm appreciating a bit more the second time around, but The Mandalorian, I feel, is still my personal favorite from my point of view. And I'm really looking forward to more story about the Mandalorians and going to their home planet and everything. And I'm curious about this season. We also got footage from Secret Invasion, which looks pretty interesting. And Ahsoka, another Star Wars show coming in 2023, of course, that I'm really excited about. I really hope that continues the journey of Ahsoka in finding Ezra, and I want to see Thrawn as the main villain of this kind of Filoni Favreau universe that they're creating. I hope that with some connected tissue, and I think Thrawn would make such a strong villain, and going just beyond the whole Empire First Order thing, and moving on to a villain like Thrawn, who's very cerebral. So I hope it. I think it will, but I hope it goes in that direction. We also got to look at a live action adaptation of Peter Pan and Wendy. I don't really have any thoughts on that yet, but I'll give it a try. And Loki season 2. We got a short look at Loki season 2. I really enjoyed the first season. So, but I think the one thing from Marvel that I've been disappointed with is how, with the whole multiverse and everything, I really wanted to see, Kang show up more after Loki, but I think that's coming, with, the Avengers movie that's coming out, the next Avengers movie. And I think that storyline is going to be coming. So maybe we'll get more on that in season 2 of Loki. I just thought it would come sooner. But that was our kind of look at 2023 and my thoughts about that. We also this week got a look at behind the scenes featurette for Creed 3. Now, it was it had commentary by lead star and director Michael B. Jordan. This is his first outing as a director, and this is, you know, Adonis Creed's next journey here. And I loved Creed. Um, the one thing I loved most about it was the relationship between Adonis and Rocky. And Creed 2 was all right. It packed a lot of emotional punch. Creed is still my favorite of the two, and Creed 3 doesn't have Sylvester Stallone in it. And there's certainly some controversy surrounding that whole issue, and I don't know what side you fall on or what point of view you take on that. Um, but it's going to be tough to not have Sylvester Stallone in this movie, but I do still want to see it or watch it at some point because I've really enjoyed the Creed story so far. And, you know, we're going to get Keenan Coogler, who wrote the script for this one from the original story outline from Ryan Coogler. So Tessa Thompson is back, and it looks like there's a new adversary for Adonis in the form of Damian Anderson, played by Jonathan Majors. It looks like there's some kind of familial history there, so that might add some tension and some conflict to the story. So we'll see what Creed 3 brings. That's coming out actually sooner than I thought. When I watched this whole thing, it comes out on March 3rd. I wasn't expecting it that soon. I guess I haven't really been paying attention, but this featurette also featured like an IMAX look. So a lot of the film, a lot of these scenes are filmed with IMAX cameras. So that'll be interesting to see how that impacts the boxing elements of it. Another kind of look we got was we got our first look at Oppenheimer, an Oppenheimer trailer from Christopher Nolan. And you guys might know that I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I thought his Batman trilogy is the best that Batman story that I've seen. And I love Batman. And, you know, he also did so many other good movies, you know, Tenet, Inception, you know, some of Interstellar, some of my favorite movies Christopher Nolan worked on. And, you know, this is all about basically the creation of the atomic bomb. And, you know, one thing that's been floating out there is they had to recreate that explosion from an atomic bomb. So it'll be interesting to see how they pulled that off. And there is a lineup of stars in this movie, and I didn't even realize it. You know, Cillian Murphy. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he's in a lot of Nolan's films. Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Florence Pugh is going to be in this. Um, Josh Hartnett. You know, I haven't seen him in a minute. Jack Quaid from The Boys. So definitely a lot of star power here. So. And the description here says the IMAX shot epic thriller thrusts audiences into the pulse-pounding paradox of the enigmatic man who must risk destroying the world in order to save it. So that is the log line. And this one is going to be coming out, let's see, does it say July 21st, 2023? So excited about that. Another movie I'm very excited about is Mission Impossible 7. And they, I think it was, Paramount's YouTube page released, or their YouTube channel released a look at, behind the scenes look at Dead Reckoning Part 1. This was almost a 10-minute featurette that showed just like the behind the scenes of this crazy stunt they're doing for this movie. And I think they're calling it like maybe the largest stunt in history. Yeah, the biggest stunt in cinema history is what it says here. So basically, you have Tom Cruise, who, you think what you might of him in Scientology or anything else, but this dude is amazing when it comes to him performing his own stunts and just the effort and the time that he puts into his films. And it's just, it's something else. And, you know, he must have gone through, I think, like thousands of motorcycle jumps to prepare for this. You know, I don't know how many jumps out of an airplane to prepare for this stunt, but basically it has him, you know, jumping off of a ramp, off of a cliff on a motorcycle, and then going into like a free fall and then pulling a parachute. And I just thought about how many different things could have gone wrong in this. And I'm like, Tom Cruise is going to die doing this, and if he doesn't, I'll be shocked. And Christopher McQuarrie, who is, directing and everything, he said his biggest fear is what they're going to be doing for Mission Impossible 8. So who knows what they're going to do, go to space or something. But check this featurette out if you haven't already. It's really impressive. And speaking of Tom Cruise, we have when to watch Top Gun Maverick. So if you want to watch Top Gun Maverick again or for the first time, and you for some reason didn't purchase it, I know I bought this one because it was a must-have for me. But Paramount Plus, you can watch Top Gun Maverick at 3 a.m. Eastern time or 12 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday, December 22nd. So, you can have a rewatch of Top Gun Maverick over the holidays. So there's that. Another release that's upcoming, this one from Netflix, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery is releasing at 3 a.m. Eastern and 12 Pacific on Friday, December 23rd. This was once again written and directed by Knives Out director Rian Johnson. I thought the first one was pretty good and pretty intriguing. So yeah, I think we'll definitely check this one out on Netflix. Now, moving on to kind of the main topic of today, if I were to pick a main topic, James Gunn and the DC situation. So, James Gunn issued a statement addressing the DC future and harassment that he's kind of been facing. And this is what his statement is. I think it was on Instagram. I don't know if he released it anywhere else, but it says, one of the things Peter and I were aware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studios was a certain minority of people online that could be, well, uproarious and unkind to say the least. Yeah, I think we see a lot of that happening. Our choices for the DCU are based upon what we believe is best for the story and best for the DC characters who have been around for nearly 85 years. Perhaps these choices are great, perhaps not, but they are made with sincere hearts and integrity and always with the story in mind. No one loves to be harassed or called names, but to be frank, we've been through significantly worse. Disrespectful outcry will never, ever affect our actions. We were aware that there would be a period of turbulence when we took this gig, and we knew we would sometimes have to make difficult and not so obvious choices, especially in the wake of the fractious nature of what came before us. But this means little to us in comparison to our jobs as artists and custodians in helping to create a wide and wonderful future for DC. So I think this is just an excellent statement by James Gunn. They did take on a difficult project with, basically rebooting the DCEU. And I really support their decision and what they're doing with it. I know there's a lot of uproar about Henry Cavill, not continuing as Superman, at least for right now. And I mean, I hear that. I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan as Superman. I really liked Man of Steel. I even liked Batman versus Superman. I liked him in Justice League, the Zack Snyder version anyway. But at the same time, I understand that this needs rebooted. I mean, the DCEU is in all over the place. I mean, you have how many different versions of Batman already? You have it's confusing. So I think rebooting is the right choice. And even if we look at kind of money talks and looking at the box office, I mean, the number one DC release from Box Office Mojo was Wonder Woman, which came out in 2017. So, they haven't had a movie that has surpassed that, at least in, domestically. These are domestic totals, but they haven't had one past that domestically. And that was 2017. And we're looking down at Black Adam, the latest, and so far it's made 167 million. And it's already, you can already watch it on HBO Max. So it's not really headed in the right direction. And I know money is not always the biggest thing because there are plenty of really good movies out there that don't make a lot of money. And have I enjoyed some of the films from DC in the past few years? I have. Wonder Woman obviously stands out. Beyond that, Zack Snyder's Justice League I really enjoyed. Shazam was good. Um, but and even Aquaman I kind of enjoyed, but I think that it's just kind of all over the place. Some of the movies stand on their own, some of them are connected. I just really feel that they need a fresh start and see what happens by doing that. So I think we should give James Gunn a chance. I mean, he's shown that with obviously with the Guardians of the Galaxy, with Suicide Squad, that he can do a good job in this role and everything. And so I think we should just sit back and see what they deliver with this sort of rebooted DC. And I mean, certainly we can disagree with the choices, but as always, we don't want to be vicious about it and like be disrespectful and just I'm trying to look at the words that he used here. Disrespectful outcry. Um, you know, we have to give these creators some benefit of the doubt and give them an opportunity to succeed instead of just dooming them to fail. But again, that is just from my own point of view. I am fine with DC's move here. I'm excited to see where it can go from here with James Gunn. Um, but what do you guys think? You might completely disagree with me, and that's what From a Certain Point of View is all about different points of view. And I would love to hear what you guys think of the DC shakeup. And so let me know in the comments section or reach out to us on Twitter or anywhere else. And that pretty much wraps it up for the news this week. And it's been great to be back. Thank you if you're watching this or listening to this. I'm really glad that you decided to join me, and I hope that you will continue to join me in the weeks to come for the weekly POV, and again, hoping to have some guests in the future. We are still part of the Red 5 network, and you can find some great podcasts out there and great video content from so many of them. So make sure you check them out as well. You can find me on Twitter at JediJarJar1722. You can find From a Certain Point of View on Twitter at Certain POV Pod. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. Send me a direct message if you would like to join me on a show, or if you have a topic in mind or a question you want me to answer. I'd be happy to do that. And just remember that everything I said today was true from my point of view, and I look forward to the next time.